Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to our next lesson. We're on lesson number 9 right now. Can't believe we're almost there on Everyone Communicates, Few Connect in this incredible curriculum that we have. The next lesson we're going to jump into right now is how connectors inspire people. And wow, this is such a true message, isn't it? Connectors really do inspire people. We're going to jump in and read something together from Bill Hybels, who is a pastor of a church outside of Chicago and also the founder and leader of the Willow Creek Leadership Summit. He writes in a past conference. This is part of his lesson. Let's jump in and read it together. He writes, "How much does it really matter if someone is highly motivated in their work and in their life? Some of my research on how much motivation really matters was astounding to me. I had to cross-check my references carefully to make sure that the statistics could all be verified. Lots of studies that I read tossed around numbers like 40% or even higher when they were compared the performance of motivated employees versus unmotivated employees. A 40% performance differential? Staggering to me. I read one study that said motivated employees are 87% less likely to leave an organization compared to an unmotivated employee. 80% variant there. Lots of studies that I read said that people that are motivated at work call in with dramatically fewer sick days, dramatically fewer insurance claims, less employee theft, fewer wasted hours, and the list went on and on and on. The statistics just blew me away. There is a huge difference in the outcome, the deliverables, the achievements of motivated people versus unmotivated people. But you all kind of know this from personal experience, right? You know how much more you will give if someone inspires you. There's no doubt about it. Everyone benefits from motivation. Everyone wants to be inspired. That is so right on, isn't it? Everyone wants to be inspired, and the deliverables that you can, the numbers that you can put on that really are astounding. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the inspiration equation. If you simply follow this equation that John puts in your notes here, it is going to help you to become more inspiring. I guarantee it, to other people around you. So this is the inspiration equation. Let's go ahead and go in your notes and get ready to fill in the blanks. What people know plus what people see plus what people feel equals inspiration. So let me repeat that for you because I know you're writing in your notes here. What people know plus what people see plus what people feel, that equals inspiration. So what we need to do is take those three things, the knowing, the seeing, and the feeling, and we're going to break that down to help us understand how we can do this a lot more in our lives so that we can become more inspiring when we communicate and connect with other people. So first thing in your notes, what people need to know. What do I need to convey to other people that they need to know? Number one, that you understand them and that you are focused on them. You need to convey that you understand them and that you're focused on them. That you are simply there for them and that you are the object of their affection. You need to be able to walk in their shoes, understand where they're coming from. Pay close attention to them, focus on them. So in a conversation or when you're communicating, your mind's not wandering off when they're talking. You're not thinking of something else. You're intently listening and focused on what it is that they have to say. They need to know that you're doing these things. Number two, that you have high expectations of them. I love what Steve Jobs in your notes said here, that management is about persuading people to do things they do not want to do, while leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could. I love that quote. It's all about inspiring people, helping them to understand that you have such high expectations. They really really need to know this. As a matter of fact, I really believe that there's a relationship between you personally thinking highly of them and them responding positively back. So as a connector, in a relationship, when you're communicating, when you're connecting with another person, the number that you put on their head, on their forehead as a connector, is the number that they will shoot for in return. So if you give them a 7 or 8, if you think of them as a 7 or 8, I guarantee you that the odds are very high that you will return that same number back to you on that same level. So if you think about them as a 10, I guarantee you that they're going to come back to you and they're going to be on that same level. It's all about your expectation for the other person. Next, we move on to what people need to see. What do people need to see out of you? Number one, well, people need to see your conviction. They need to see your conviction or your passion. They need to hear this and see this visibly from you. How do you connect? Well, here's the thing. In terms of in terms of your conviction, here's the thing. Teach what you only believe. If you don't believe it, then simply don't pass it on. You know, in your notes here, President Lyndon Johnson, he said that what convinces is conviction. Believe in the argument you are advancing. If you don't, you're as good as dead. The other person will sense that something isn't there. And no chain of reasoning, no matter how logical or elegant or brilliant, will win your case for you. Must be hard to be a lawyer sometimes, I guess, right? Maybe that's why sometimes lawyers lose cases. They have to see your conviction. Number two, people need to see your example. This is key. This really is key. People need to see your example. In your notes, the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, and the great teacher demonstrates. What kind of example are you setting in your life? What kind of example are you setting when times are tough, when there's challenges going on, when you're not connecting with other people, when you're the odd man out when something is wrong, or what kind of example are you setting when you're trying to sell a product or when you're trying to connect? Are you doing it yourself, or are you just merely talking? People need to see your example. They need to see that you're walking in the same path that you're calling them to do as well. And lastly, what people need to feel. Number one, they need to feel your confidence in yourself and in them. This is so true. They need to feel your confidence in yourself and in them. And number two, they need to feel your gratitude for them. They need to feel this thing. Gladys Stern says, silence isn't much good to anyone, is it? So let's think about this and let's back up. Back to the equation. The equation for inspiration is this: what people know plus what people see plus what people feel is inspiration. So I would like you to do this quick little lesson, and you could take a quick second, maybe when we're finished with lesson number 9, to do this, because we all want to inspire people, right? We all want to take people to another level. We just don't want to motivate, but we want to help them internally, inspire them because usually inspiration achieves more lasting and long time results, right? So go through your notes here and go through the three things here. What you need to know, what people need to see, and what people need to feel. And put a little check or a little X next to the one that you feel you need to come back and you need to work on. And you need to revisit and reflect upon. Because I guarantee you, if you can try to just get a couple of these under wraps, if you can try to just understand these and put these into practice in your life, I guarantee you, you will be more inspiring to people. You will connect with people on a whole nother level. I'll close with this story and we'll read this. This is actually a letter on gratitude that John Maxwell wrote to his 2 doctors. You see, 10 years ago, John Maxwell went through a heart attack. And the story goes like this. And I remember him telling this story many times. Before we read the letter, I'll tell you the story. John Maxwell was actually with the founder of Thomas Nelson. They were having dinner, and along with a heart surgeon, a heart doctor that was the founder of Thomas Nelson's heart doctor. And they were all having dinner one day, and the doctor really, I think it was Dr. Bridge Cage, John Bridge Cage. He out of Atlanta, Georgia. He #1 world renowned heart surgeon, probably in this country, maybe even in the world. He was sitting at dinner one night with John Maxwell. Just met him, just got to know him. So excited because he had read so many of John's books. And when the night was finished, he handed him his card and says, "I want to let you know that if you have any health issues, I'm here for you." John says, "Well, thank you very much, but I'm just fine." And the doctor says, "No, I know you're not fine. You're overweight. I can tell that there's some problems, and I want you to know that if you have any problems, I'm always going to be here for you." Well, fast forward to some time later when, 10 years ago, John Maxwell actually had a heart attack and ended up in the hospital. And what came to be was that these two doctors ending up saving John Maxwell's life. And John, on their 10th anniversary, wrote this letter to them and also brought them to dinner, flew them to Atlanta for dinner in a beautiful setting, just to express his gratitude, because he wanted to connect with these two doctors who saved their life, and he wanted to express their gratitude. He wanted them to feel his gratitude for them. And this was the letter, and this is really, I read this because this is just a pretty cool letter. Doctors John Bridge Cage and Jeff Marshall, 10 years ago I had a heart attack. God used both of you to spare my life. This is a letter of gratitude. The words in this letter are from my heart. They must have been written as a tangible way of giving thanks to you. I believe that silent gratitude isn't much good to anyone. Your lives have been dedicated to helping people. No doubt over the years, many people have been giving a second chance to live. For 10 years, I've been living my second chance life. Because of God's goodness and your giftedness, allow me to briefly share what's happened to me during this time. I've enjoyed extra 10 years with my wife and family. My 5 grandchildren have been born and stolen my heart. 38 books have been written that have sold 15 million copies. Amazon inducted me into their Hall of Fame. I've been named the world's #1 leadership guru. 3 leadership events have been founded by me. Catalyst, Maximum Impact and Exchange, which is a high-level executive experience. 2 of my companies have experienced wonderful growth. Enjoy, which is a stewardship service that partnered with 4,000, raised over $4 billion. And Equip has trained over 3 million leaders in 113 countries. It has been John's privilege to speak for the United Nations, West Point, NASA, the CIA, and many Fortune 500 companies. And most important, over 7,500 people have received Christ through my teaching. 1 Samuel 2:9 says that God protectively cares for his faithful friends step by step. Dr. Cage, it was no accident when you handed me your business card and said, "John, God has asked me to take care of you." It was no mistake. Call me anytime if you need help. Dr. Marshall, it was no accident that you met me at the hospital with your team and said, "We are here to take care of you. Everything is going to be fine." For the last 10 years, I've continually expressed to God my gratefulness for both of you. Tonight, I give you this letter and say with great love and compassion, thank you. What a letter that you can believe that John wrote. I read this why. I mean, I'm not John. This isn't my story. This is his story. But it's so impacting because of the time that John and the effort that John wanted to put into making a great experience and to showing the gratitude for the 2 men who really saved his life. He wanted to connect with them. So in your notes, to wrap up the lesson number 9, connectors inspire people. What people remember most is how you make them feel. It's not remembering who you are, what you look like, what you say. It's how you made them feel. If you inspire them, they're going to remember that tenfold over what it is that you say. So what do you need to work on today before our next group? The knowing, the seeing, or the feeling? Hope you enjoyed this lesson. We'll see you on lesson number 10 and in the group together. Bye-bye.